How close is this offense to being what it was in 2022? Pretty close, if you ask a couple of people. Also, Joe Milton's play, and we'll discuss revenge games with Jacob Warren. I'm Dave Hooker, the Vol Report, brought to you by Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn. Jake, good win last week. Ready to move forward and get back into SEC play.
For sure, yeah. Again, like I said, it's a good win. It's good to go out there and execute kind of the way you want to and put up, some good numbers and have a lot of success and be able to get a lot of guys in the game that, maybe don't normally get reps or whatever. So, yeah, definitely had a good week last week and just looking forward to kind of having, a similar one this week.
Yep. Be sure and hit that like and subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate that. And Jacob, let's get down to something that I've always had trouble putting my finger on. Do revenge games matter? I know that at the Alabama game this year, they said it was personal for them. I guess the way the field was charged, whatever the case may be. I know you guys dominated Missouri last year, or at least beat them pretty soundly towards the end. And then you guys played really well against South Carolina, who you lost to. So, revenge games, do they matter year to year or no?
Not really. We don't call it revenge, right? You don't call it's not for us. It's not necessarily a revenge game. It's just a matter of you said it. It's personal, and things are personal in this game. And as much as you want to admit that it's not, right? There's bad blood between teams just because of history or because of maybe something that happened last year or whatever it may be. And so I think that that's kind of the mentality of the week as you go into a week. And I'm sure Missouri's like, yeah, this one's personal because these guys think whatever. I don't even know what they think we think, but I know what I think. I know that I just, it's the next week, man. It's just another one that we get to go out there and play. And obviously, like you said, continue and hope to have a similar outcome as the past few years.
Well, they probably think Josh Heupel ran up the score last year.
Sure. Yeah,
that's right. I mean, if I were them, that's what I'd be thinking if I were looking for motivation.
Just last year, though? Never mind.
I see where you're going.
Stop talking.
I see where you're going. Yeah. But that would be a motivating factor for me.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, there's a lot of relationships in this game. That's what I mean by it's personal. A lot of relationships in this game. A lot of coaches that guys have been a lot of places, and guys have coached with people, coached against people, and it just happens, man. There's just always dates on the calendar that teams circle, and this one might be one of those for them. So we'll see.
But Josh Heupel doesn't say, I was at Missouri and those guys, man, they really stuck it to me. So we got to go out there and play really well today. I mean, it doesn't go back that far, right?
No, that's not it at all. It's truly just a matter of, man, what is personal about it? I don't know, but it is. Like it's a motivating thing to get you to go out there and understand kind of how they're going to react. I think we're going to walk into that stadium and it's going to be different than it's been the past couple of times I've been to Columbia, Missouri. Right? Columbia, Missouri is not necessarily always the rowdiest or the juiciest or whatever you want to call it, but this year they have a great team. Have been playing really well recently, and they're going to be excited. Right? It's going to be a different atmosphere. We're going to get their best, and I think you'd hear that from the top down too. Is we're going to get their best, so we got to kind of go match it, with our energy and just with the way that we play.
Okay, so remind me about going to Columbia previously, because you're right, they are on a different stratosphere now.
Yeah.
How much more jacked do you think their fans will be that they're playing for something nowadays?
For sure, and that's kind of what it is. They're playing for a New Year's Six bowl. They're playing, for contention, just the way that we are, right? They're playing to kind of continue to take strides as a program and continue to get better as they've done for the past couple of years. And yeah, I mean, just being completely honest, being there in the past, it's always usually cold, right? So, that kind of takes away from it, and whatever, like like you said, they have a lot that they're playing for right now, and they are a good team, and I'm sure their fans are extremely supportive and extremely excited for this week in particular, just because you got another pretty good team coming in town to try to take that, and so that's whenever the suspension or the what's the word, all the hype builds up, right?
Yeah.
All the all this expectation or whatever about how the game's going to be, and that's kind of what gets the people fired up. And it'll be rowdy, it'll be exciting, and I think just being able to use that, as our, our advantage too, right? We'll be used to playing in the loud environment, and just trying to learn from the past, right? We've played in some loud environments that we struggled in, and we've played in some that we've handled pretty well. So just understanding that that's just going to be a part of the game we got to just kind of deal with.
Visiting with Jacob Warren, the Vol Report with Jacob Warren is brought to you by Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn. Life is better when you see better. Enjoy life better when you see better. I have no contacts, no glasses. Why? Because Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn did my LASIK surgery, and I see fantastic far away and close as well. So certainly check them out. Local doctors that care about your well-being. That's not the case at a lot of other eye facilities. So, Jacob, I'm going to use my eyes to look at this offense that you guys presented up against UConn. Now, I don't think anybody is going to mistake UConn for the greatest defenses of all time. However, that being said, it felt like no matter what they were doing, that you guys had a balance between the run game and the passing game that I'm not sure that I've quite seen quite as evenly distributed. Your thoughts on what you guys did from a balance standpoint?
Yeah. I mean, I see it too, right? I understand kind of, where we've lacked in the past, or where maybe one game we just throw a lot, one game we're running a lot, or whatever people have to say about our tempo offense or whatever. But I think we definitely did a really good job last week of kind of balancing it out, and being extremely efficient in both areas. I know Joe had a great game. Joe threw for, I want to say close to 300, if not over 300.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something that he would like to be doing all the time, right? And something that that's definitely something that he is capable of doing every week. And yeah, it was good to see. It was good to be a part of. It was funny. A lot of the drives I was in, people after the game asked me if something was wrong, or if I, why I didn't play very much or whatever. And it just was the way the way it went. Is every drive I was in the game, we were throwing the ball and we were scoring 60, 70-yard touchdowns. Jay Wright with the 70-some yard touchdown run, and then Ramel with the big touchdown catch, and then Squirrel with a big touchdown catch. And it felt like the offense that we are used to playing, the style where we are able to run the ball, get a couple first downs, we are able to push the ball down the field. And then there was drives whenever we didn't connect on that shot, and we were able to convert third downs. We were able to push the pile and get a really good run out of our running back, or check the ball down and get a first down on the second and long, like whatever it is. It's just these little things that are part of this offense. Definitely kind of seeing those come through and show up on Saturday.
Okay, so explain that, because you and I talked about it, but it's been over a year ago.
Yeah.
How your snaps work in a rotation with, it was Princeton Fant when we were talking about last year, now McAllen Castles.
Yeah, we split them. One drive I'll be in, one drive he'll be in. One, whoever's fresh, we're going, and if you're good to go, it's your turn, then you go. Kind of just how it works out. Usually the reps end up, evening out by the end of it, just because if one person gets a really long drive, then the next person will go, and if that's a short one, maybe you'll get another one. It's kind of loose and just kind of how we're feeling. It's very good to be a part of something like that, and I talked about this last year with Princeton. It's very good to have a partner to play with that is selfless, right? Is not selfish about the situation, and understands, like, hey, like, it's not about me, right? It's about the team, and it's about this unit being as good as it possibly can be. And whoever's on the field, the other two or the other three, whoever it is out there, are on the sideline supporting the guy and making sure he's good. We have all types of communication to tell about how we are in the status, if we're healthy, if we feel good, or whatever. So just continue to back each other up and continue to be there for each other. That's kind of what we're all about, and I'm truly happy to be a part of the system that works like that.
So do you when you're in, do you rotate drives just like you did last year with Princeton, excuse me, or do you have the ability as the more experienced guy to say, I'm so good, I'm staying in? Or is it better for you to come out because maybe you need a blow?
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. Sometimes it's better, like, hey, I'm gonna be aware of my status and kind of how I feel right now. If we can get a fresh body on the field, and he can do the job better than I can do the job at this moment, then that's the selflessness that I'm talking about. That's the ability to put yourself second, right? And be able to just say, hey, it's more important that we have a fresh body out there. At this point, we're conditioned pretty well. So, mid-drive subs are not necessarily super common, but yeah, it kind of just depends on how you feel and where you are and kind of the flow of the game.
So, how good do you feel right now, given that rotation? Because when the season was started, I was like, well, if they don't have somebody that steps up, and we now know that you have, that could be a lot of extra work on Jacob. So, how do you feel physically as opposed to, let's say, this time last year?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good. I think last year was dealing with different things like actual, small injuries and stuff like that that you just had to kind of push through. Right now, knock on wood and Lord willing, man, I've been healthy and protected and everything, feels again as good as it can. And we had a conversation at the beginning of the season too about how I wouldn't feel. He asked me how I felt after 2 or 3 games, and I said I wouldn't feel any better than I do right now. And so I mean that's true. I mean as you go through and each week kind of stacks up on each other, and you start to feel kind of just the wear and tear of the season. But like I said, man, as long as I can just get out of the game and be healthy and not have any serious injuries, I'm good, man.
How important has this series been at different times of your career? You go back 3 years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was kind of the moment where everything clicked, and you felt like maybe it would be 2 games ago, so 2 years ago. But you go back to 2021, and
Mhm.
that's kind of where it clicked, right? Where you felt good about this offense,
Yeah.
and then last year, you guys played incredibly well, this offense. How significant has this game been, maybe by happenstance, of providing a little bit of a welcome boost to your self confidence in key moments?
Specifically this week, you're saying?
Yeah, no, this week in general, you guys played so well against Missouri a couple of years ago, and
Man.
then last year you're coming off a loss and played incredibly well.
Yeah. Again, man, it's just a matter of kind of understanding opportunity. They've got similar guys on that side of the ball, so they'll know. They will have experience playing against us, before, and these guys, has kind of seen the things we do and kind of familiar with, how our offense rolls, and sure, it is a great confidence boost to be able to go in and be like, yeah, like we've handled this team, we've handled this game really well the past couple of years. Who's to say we can't do it again? Obviously, like I just said, they're going to be prepared and they're going to be excited and juicy, and the energy is going to be great, and the environment's going to be great. So it'll definitely be a challenge, but yeah, sure. I think you have a great deal of confidence going in, and just understand that you can get the job done again, and just got to kind of stick to the things that give us success, and we'll be just fine.
Are they? I was watching them a little bit against Georgia. It seems like they had times in which gave some different defensive front looks, in
Mhm.
particular, maybe having three down linemen at one point. Are they more challenging from a mental standpoint of who you're supposed to block, especially in rundowns?
I mean, they play it different ways. I think, like a lot of people do. There's very few teams that just line up in their base stuff and just say like, here, try to get past this. Right? There's very few teams in this league that do that, and that have the talent to be able to do that. And then there's a lot of teams that have the talent to be able to do these these different things, like these 3 down looks or into 4 down looks, and being able to move guys around and play, safeties in the box and play their nickels in the box, or play them over the slot. It just kind of depends on how they want to play us and how they see fit. Last year we have you have a guy like Jalen Hyatt who has already recorded over 10 and 11 touchdowns at this point in the season, and is extremely fast, extremely dynamic, and so you want to worry about a guy like that, right? So that might change the way that they play the box, or that might change the structure that they play. They might want to have help over top of Jalen. So there's all these different aspects that kind of go into what presentation you get from the defense, and especially the defensive front. So we'll see how they handle it. We've had a pretty successful run game, so you wouldn't be surprised to see them try to stop that. But then again, you have a lot of success, with Joe Milton and with the slots and with the wide receivers. So it kind of just depends, man. Their ability to get in and out of different things kind of depends on whether we're able to expose those things. And very quickly do you realize whether they're, if they line up in a certain thing and a run splits for 40, 50 yards, they're probably not going to get back in that again. So as the game goes on, and that as you kind of figure out what they want, what they're comfortable with, that kind of changes your mindset and kind of changes the things that you go in, you know, wanting to do. If that makes sense. I know that was really long winded, but
No, it makes perfect sense. I'm curious about this too. I mean, I'm not saying what was it, 5 touchdowns and 200 some yards against Alabama. I'm not saying that type of game, but I'm saying that the type of game where Squirrel White scares defenses a little bit. I
Mhm.
think he's scaring them a little bit now, but a lot.
Yeah.
What do you feel like he's close to that Jalen Hyatt game, like where if you don't pay enough attention to him, you're going to get scorched repeatedly?
Repeatedly. And I think that that's it's amazing that you said that because I think that's exactly where Squirrel is. I think it's just a matter of having that game right now where he is in that zone and he's just not that they're cutting him loose. He's just beating guys or he's just running by them or just
Yeah.
making good reads or just making tough catches. And he's made a lot of tough catches so far this season. And he just hasn't had that one game, like you said, is a little bit crazy to think about Jalen Hyatt, right? And just the performance that he had. But man, a game like that is definitely well within reach for Squirrel. And I would love to see it because that means we're having a lot of success. But just for him too, man, to give him that extra boost, I mean, he does a great job, and he's continuing to come along as a a younger guy, right? He's not been here too long, but truly stepping into that role and doing a really good job.
Yeah, I'm kind of defining it. I'm not defining it by number of touchdowns, catches, or yards,
Right. Just
but
in the way of the almost like a breakout game or like a okay, yeah,
right.
we need to start respecting this guy. I kind of know what you mean, and I think that yeah,
Yeah.
he is close to that point for sure.
Well, and dictating coverage. I don't know if you can do that as much from the slot, but I think you definitely want upcoming defensive coaches to walk into the room and say, if they're saying this, I think it's a step in the right direction. Got to take care of Squirrel first.
Yeah, we can't let that guy beat us.
And then you have the filter down effect of you guys all benefit.
Right. That's how the game works, man.
It's my
Hopefully,
theory. I just figured
we'll
after 25 years, I figured it out.
figure it out. That's funny.
He is Jacob Warren. Got a chance to bump into your dad. Fantastic individual. If
Well done.
somebody's shopping for an Audi, no, they don't do anything with us, but I would recommend him because he's a fine man there at
Yeah.
Audi.
Oh, yeah.
But Dr. Campbell's, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn, they're paying the freight. We appreciate those, and that's why I can see. No contacts, no glasses, and we absolutely love it. The Vol Report with Jacob Warren is brought to you by Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn. Enjoy life better when you see better. We're talking about local doctors from the community that care about you. This has been a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.